So it's like kick in the door, waving into Lord, Lord. Okay? Because, it's almost like that child on the playground, asking God for attention. You don't have to ask for his attention. He's right there. He's where you are, okay? It's funny how it takes so long in this lifetime sometimes to learn certain lessons, to realize and to appreciate what you really have. Somebody made a comment about me talking about going to the movies by myself. Man, please, I've been doing that for years. And I take out my notebook and I start taking notes on things that I feel are important, because it's a learning experience. Everything is a lesson. Growth, everything. My message that I put out yesterday, it was just basically, I don't want to bask in lower vibrations. I just want to make sure that people get the message, because I think that we lose certain points in perspective when we are putting ourselves first and only. God is first, okay? And we have to take perspective of other people in our surroundings. We have to love, because that is the highest vibration. And I love love. I love to love other people. But when you are putting negative energy out there and you're trying to hurt other people, I'm not going to I'm not going to co-sign on such things, okay? And that's the only thing I was trying to say. It's almost like you get upset with your child and you reprimand and you say, I want you to go in and I want you to think about it. And they go in the next room and they think about it, whatever. It's almost like you get your point made. Everyone understands what's being said, and you grow from it. You talk about it. You grow from it. It's important that we are able to sit and really think about some of these things that we're doing. As I said, I evaluate even the things that I say and do. And I know that I can be hard on myself at times. But it's important that we're gaining something from these conversations that we're having with others as well as ourselves. People made comments about, how my mother figure left this earth plane. I had to step up and I had to be almost, I felt, as a parent to certain siblings, okay? And it wasn't that I was really being a parent. What it was is that it was almost like I had to step in her position and I had to have conversations that I really didn't want to have. And sometimes you place in situations like this to make you stronger, and the other person too, because certain conversations have to be had, certain closing, certain, should I say, closure, and certain healing had to be done. People said I should have felt a certain way about my oldest brother. I realized the painful experiences that he had as well. And it wasn't his fault, certain things that he experienced. And sometimes when hurt people are hurt, they hurt other people. Now, I'm not saying what all the things that he did was right. But what I am saying is that I can learn from his mistakes, both his and mine. And while we're growing, while we're persevering, and we're learning and healing and growing from other people's mistakes as well as our own, we can also take another step forward and say, you know what? I'm going to not only heal through this process, but I'm going to evaluate where I stood in all this as well. Taking responsibility and being obligated to healing, because that's really where it's at here, okay? We have a lot of women who get into these relationships with guys, right? They get into these relationships and they put the man first, and the man will do all sorts of heinous things, or even vice versa. The woman will do all sorts of heinous crimes, and that person will stick with them until they are down in the gutter and both of them cannot get up, because they're pulling on each other's energy instead of reaching for God's energy to persevere. Sometimes God will, like I said, separate. I've been separated from my family for a long period of time now, and I'll be honest with you, the growth that I've experienced, and it also makes me set time and a half away for other people who might need my help. And it's a funny thing about you helping others. When they appreciate your help, you don't mind helping. When people don't appreciate and they throw you in the corner or they say negative things about you, that's nothing to make you want to stay around them. And that's what I think. I think when God separates people, he's separating so everyone can learn certain perspectives, certain lessons. They can't learn certain lessons if the person is there picking up behind them the whole time. If a child is supposed to clean their room and you're constantly cleaning that room, which is also one of the experiences that I've had as well, constantly cleaning other people's mess up. If they can't clean up their own mess and you're cleaning it up, what are they learning? What are they gaining? We're all here to learn and gain lessons. If we're not going to learn, if we're not going to gain the messages, then what are we here for? We all have a purpose in life. And yes, we are to connect at certain points in time. But when you're constantly connecting with people and they're constantly pulling you down, it's time to walk away. It's time for you to grow, time for you to persevere. You know, there's so many people say, you know, at 16 years old, I left my parents' house, and that's how the story starts. Now, if they stepped away and they got their healing, and they got the nurturing, and they were able to make changes and fix up whatever it is they need to fix up in their lives, then I say thumbs up, guys. Awesome job. Because you have got to step out on faith for you. You've got to make certain decisions and choices for you. You know, I was invited to go to London, you know, and, you know, somebody thought they were doing some kind of spell work, talking about they didn't want me to leave a certain environment, you know. Sometimes when people are down in a low perspective and they're vibing low, they want you to vibe along with them. And you pick up on certain energies. Like I said, when you tapped in, you know. And I said, you know, people can think or feel whatever they want to feel or think. God is working on me, and while working on me, there's certain things that I need to take care of before I make the next step. The next step. And when you're making the next step, there are other steps in which that might have to follow while you are setting your intentions and moving along. You know, no one has all this power over you. I don't know who told these people they had so much power with other people. Remember before when I said we're playing chess? You see, one thing about the game of chess, it's almost like what some people thought. They thought that since they were getting away with it for so many years, that they were winning. You see, chess, when you play chess, you're sitting there for a minute, figuring out the moves, trying to make sure that you're maintaining certain dialogue, so to speak, you know? It's like you, even when you're playing a game of, let's find a game, poker, you know? You know when you have 6, that's not exactly a successful hand, you know? Any game that you're playing, you must first put thought and intention behind it, right? Now, I particularly, when you master the game of checkers, or even the Connect 4 game, then it's going to be a quicker game to play unless, you know, you're trying to let the person have more time, or you're trying to kind of cheat yourself and let the other person win. You know that certain games, there's no real strategy after a while once you reach a certain point. But chess, now that's a whole different game, like the game of war, you know? I Declare War we used to play, that game can't touch chess, you know? But the Art of War, which is a book, now that's a whole nother story. You see, with everything that we're learning, you know, today I got a chance to, you know, ride around and look at unfamiliar territory. And I spotted a spot that I really am looking forward to going, you know. And it's important that we explore our neighborhoods, our roads, our yellow brick road, should I say. In life, there's so many different journeys, you know, and while we might feel like, you know, God, man, why am I in this one position? Look at that position and enjoy it while you're there, because that position might have to leave very soon. You know, there's a lot of excitement growing in the air, okay? You feel it. I know I do. And even with this excitement and this cleansing that's been going on, you know, it's all good. Each lesson has been a blessing. And even the ones that I felt have been harsh, there's still certain blessings behind it, because there's a cleansing and leaving certain things behind. There's a cleansing and cleaning up a certain area to move on to a next. You know, you cannot make it to the top of the steps by sitting at the bottom. You got to somehow get up and walk. I don't care how you get there, but you're going to have to eventually make certain changes. And when you get there, that's when the happy celebrations are occurring. But let's not forget each step that you have to take in order to get there as well. Each step lends itself to a better one. If we step out and we do it, now we can't just sit around and just think it's all going to happen, for us. But if we are looking at it, we're saying, you know what? God, just help me make it through. Help me to get to where I need to get to. Help me to go and roam in this new space. Help me to appreciate each step on the way to where I'm going, Sometimes people think that they're in such control and they'll cause such confusion in your life. And believe it or not, they're also making you stronger while they're doing it. So many different things going on right now. But I'm just happy about it. The good, the bad, the indifferent. The indifference. With all that is going on in our surroundings, we have to be thankful, because this journey and so many changes that are coming along the way, bask in every moment that's leading to where you're going. Because right now, sometimes things will happen and you'll feel as though somebody threw a rock in the middle of your plan. Because some people are throwing rocks and hiding their hands, but that's fine too. Because the fine tuning will be in God showing them, the reality of it all. Somehow, my words being twisted around a little bit, but even that's good, Guys, I just want you to enjoy your own personal journeys, There's so many things going on and so many people who feel as though they have the power to do certain things. But you know what? There's a higher power. And with this higher power, God is directing us to do just what it is that He'd like us to do. And this is something we could be thankful for as well, In breaking the family curses, as I stated, the Kennedys with all that they've gone through, and so many other generations of people. But the Kennedys are very, very popular family that everyone seems to know. So that's why it's easy for you to give that example. But what I really want to tell you is, with each generation, if we're making the right choices, we will uplift our next generation and not curse it. You see, again, when people feel that they have certain power, certain strength, they'll do these different things and, set those types of intentions and have you, so they think, going in a circle. But the good thing about it is that when God is correcting the problem, you're able to see certain things. You see, that's another thing you can be thankful for, when you can actually see it. It's almost like when you make a mistake and, and the mistake comes back. Let's say you throw a nut at somebody's head, right? And that person says, ouch, and they look at you and you apologize, but you did it purposely. And then later on, that something happens to that person, and it happens double time. Let's say it's a bigger rock this time, and it gets thrown at that next person. Now, here's the thing about that. If that person can see that lesson and actually appreciate the fact that they can even remember that this is why it happened back to them, then they'll be growing from the lessons and they'll learn them and make better choices next time. They'll know not to throw a rock at all, and to make sure that they check themselves so that they don't have to be wrecked later on, Again, we're all going through different journeys. And with each experience that we're going through, if we can learn from our mistakes, then things will be so much better, because then you won't make the same mistakes again. Excuse me. Well, that's been my word. I really appreciate you guys spending this time with me. And I hope that you are learning different lessons, because some of my lessons were very harsh. I would hope that others could learn an easier way so that they don't have to worry about having those very same experiences. And growth, because we're growing here. Have a wonderful day. That's Indigo Moon. And I hope you have a wonderful one.